Top 3 Scariest Ghost Ship Horror Stories That Will Make Your Skin Crawl. Welcome, but don't say I didn't warn you. The stories you're about to hear will make your skin crawl and your blood run cold. You're about to dive deep into the darkness of the ocean, where the dead don't rest, and the waters carry whispers of horror. These are the top 3 ghost ship stories, each one more terrifying than the last. Be warned, the more you listen, the closer you draw to the chilling presence lurking just beyond the edge of your consciousness. Subscribe now, because you won't want to miss what comes next. Trust me, you'll need to be prepared. Story 1, The Flying Dutchman. It was said to be a ship cursed by the sea itself, the Flying Dutchman, an ancient vessel that no mortal man was meant to see. The crew, doomed to sail forever, never aging, never dying, were the cursed souls of sailors who had defied the sea. Their ship, forever lost in time, was said to appear only during the fiercest of storms, its glowing sails drifting through the fog like a phantom, an omen of death for any who saw it. One fateful night, a ship captain and his crew found themselves trapped in a violent storm off the coast of Cape Horn. The winds howled and the waves towered like mountains, crashing over the deck with an intensity that seemed impossible. The captain, desperate to keep his ship afloat, tried to navigate through the chaos, but then he saw it. Through the thick fog, the Flying Dutchman appeared, its sails glowing like ghostly fire. The captain froze in terror. The ship's crew, their faces pale and lifeless, stared out from the deck as if waiting for something, or someone. Suddenly, the fog cleared and the captain's ship collided with the ghostly vessel. But there was no crash. No sounds of wood splintering, no screams of terror. Instead, the captain found himself on board the Dutchman, surrounded by the undead crew, their hollow eyes watching his every move. Before he could scream, he felt the weight of eternity pressing down on him. He was trapped, a part of the crew now, doomed to sail forever. And as the captain became one of them, his soul lost to the sea, the Flying Dutchman vanished once more into the fog, leaving nothing behind but the sound of waves crashing and the eternal silence of the sea. Story 2, The Orang Medan. In 1947, a distress signal was picked up by multiple ships in the South Pacific, originating from a Dutch cargo vessel called the Orang Medan. The message was simple but terrifying: all officers, including the captain, dead. Lying in the chart room and on the bridge. Probably the whole crew is dead. I die. And then silence. A rescue ship, the Silver Star, was sent to investigate. When they boarded the Orang Medan, they found something that would haunt them forever. The crew was dead, their bodies sprawled out on the deck, eyes wide open in terror, mouths frozen in screams. But the most horrifying part? Their expressions were not of pain, but of pure terror, as if they had seen something beyond comprehension. The bodies of the crew were strangely bloated, and a cold, unnatural fog seemed to cling to the ship's hull. As the crew of the Silver Star ventured deeper into the ship, they found more bodies, each one contorted in an impossible manner. Some were in the cargo hold, others were sprawled across the dining room. But the most terrifying thing was in the engine room. There, amidst the rotting bodies, was a dark shape, a shadow that didn't belong to any of the dead crew members. It was as if the ship itself had become a vessel for some otherworldly force, a malevolent entity that had wiped out every soul aboard. In a panic, the Silver Star crew quickly abandoned the Orang Medan, and as they sailed away, they saw the ship slowly sink into the ocean, vanishing into the abyss. The ship was never found again. Story 3, The Mary Celeste. The Mary Celeste was a ship that had mysteriously vanished for over a decade. When it was finally found, drifting aimlessly off the coast of the Azores in 1872, it was completely abandoned. There was no sign of a struggle, no indication of violence, but something was horribly wrong. When investigators boarded the ship, they found everything perfectly intact, except for one chilling detail. The crew's personal belongings were gone, but the food was still on the table, as though the crew had simply vanished in the middle of their meal. There was no trace of the captain, his family, or any of the sailors. The ship's log had entries for the days leading up to the abandonment, but then it abruptly stopped. Most terrifying of all was the fact that the ship's lifeboat was missing, suggesting that the crew had fled. But why? Why would they leave the safety of the ship in the middle of the ocean without a trace? No one knows. Years later, when a salvage team returned to the ship, they reported hearing whispers in the wind, voices that couldn't possibly be real. And then the ship, the Mary Celeste, disappeared again as if it had never existed. The conclusion. As you listen to these stories, you might have felt something stirring within you, a growing unease, a creeping sensation that you're not alone. You've heard the whispers. You felt the presence of something watching, waiting. It's not over. The sea is vast, its depths unfathomable. And sometimes, when the wind howls and the waves crash against the shore, you might hear something, a distant call, a voice from beyond, beckoning you to join the cursed souls of the ghost ships. But be warned, the moment you hear these stories, the curse follows you. You've been marked. Subscribe now before it's too late. You can never escape the ocean once it has your name. And the ships? They're always watching.